Hello, my darlings. Good evening, and welcome to our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle ATL By Night. Chapter 3, We Find the Defendant. Let's welcome our vampires.
My name is Leona Rohr, and I'll be playing Altami.
I'm Zachary Valdo, playing Anton Krvopuskov.
I'm Renee Cooper, and I'm playing Hexadecimal.
I'm Ian E. Muller, and I'm playing Jackson.
My name is Tyler Sutherland, playing Aaron Ulrich.
And I'm your storyteller, Ellie Collins. We want to say a big thank you to our sponsors, Die Hard Dice, Various Clothing, and Carolina Game Tables for all their support of the show. And you can check them out on our link tree, which should be here in chat in just a minute. And you can follow those links and check out our wonderful sponsors. So now, why don't we sit back and relax and let's sentence a vampire story. We pick up tonight at the recess for the trial. After a very heavy first half, Alpha took a break to think about everything before moving on to let Anton question. Gertie proceeded to soften her harsh lawyer exterior and tend to her pigeons during the recess. And in the back dressing room sits Alpha and Alima, talking more earnestly with each other. Alpha approaches Lima and says, "This is bullshit, but also the Camarilla way of handling things doesn't interest me." Yes, beheadings and immediate blood hunts with shaky cause are no way to be in the modern era. Much easier though, that's for sure. Why do we need this whole thing anyway? You don't want it. 'Cause I need to try something different. Maybe this ain't the way we keep doing it, but it's something we're gonna try. Just because I don't like it or want to do it don't mean I ain't taking it completely fucking seriously. I just don't know how people can just actively make their shit worse when I'm trying to give them a chance. I'm gonna have to figure out something to do, because I doubt we're gonna get a miracle anytime. And there's a knock on their door as Georgina stands in, smiling. Hey, so I got past this and told to give it to Alpha immediately. Well, who gave it to you? Legitimately no idea. Fun, okay, thanks. And Georgina is quickly shuffled out of the room as Alpha unfolds a note, skimming it and looking at Alima with a stern look somewhere between annoyed and angry. It's a small bar napkin with a splash of red around the corner. And it says, crossed out, "I saw Goody Proctor with the devil," and then another line crossed out, "Dodd is fucking all," and then another line crossed out, "Dear Prince Alpha, hello. I am one of Bishop Lydia's remaining congregation. This is an anonymous testimony, and I submit this knowing full well I'm signing my death warrant from at least one sect, probably two." And crossed out is 3 if I'm lucky. Primogen Dot of Clan Nosferatu is working closely with Bishop Lydia to uncertain ends. I have personally witnessed Primogen Dot hosting Bishop Lydia in her Marta Haven, along with, crossed out, motherfucking Lucida de Argon of Clan La Sombra. The Banu Hakim are all aware of this, but they will always do as they will. Seeing Dot in action since getting here, I can only assume she has no actual belief in the Dark Father and is using the Sword of Cain as her own weapon. Mr. Anton K. of Clan Tremere is in no way assisting the Sabbat. I have no... and numerous words are crossed out. Feelings, fondness, warmth, relationship, friendship for Mr. K, as he has no friendship with myself or the rest of the Sabbat. His assistant in the Shepherd's crossed out wholesale slaughter, destruction of most of the congregation should be all your proof there. That he would be involved in any way is laughable, verging on Malkavian-esque. Sorry for the bloodstains on the corner, spilled my drink. X. P.S. There is a non-zero chance Bishop Lydia is here tonight. Don't trust faces. And Alima leans away from the napkin and goes, well, shit. Alpha sets it down, rubbing his head. Well, shit's right. I mean, most of this is way off base from what we're thinking, but there's good shit in here we need. And what does this mean, don't trust faces? Also, I'm glad Georgina didn't read this. That line about Malkavian-esque is rather rude. She's a fucking Zemissy. She could literally be anyone in this building, even you, but I know it's you. No one gives me that look of true, honest annoyance like you do. I appreciate the compliment, but we should get back out there. Yeah, just help me keep an eye out for anything that could be of help. And slowly Alpha returns to the stage, taking his seat, and Alima walks out and down the stairs to take a place standing near Amon. And Alpha raises his hand. All right, we're back in session. Anton, you can call your first witness.
Anton is just furiously scribbling stuff down. Since he stopped his conversation with Georgina and O'Donnell, something clicked, and he's been writing. Yes, apologies. Anybody at all? Doesn't matter if I have discussed that before or not.
Doesn't matter. Ideally, they should be in this room, because I do not want to spend until sunrise waiting for somebody to get across town.
That's fair. Well, I suppose I can just openly ask the question first. No, I'll save him. We should go with the obvious, I suppose. I'd like to call Aaron Ulrich.
All right, Aaron, get up here.
Make my way to the stage.
All right. And so, Aaron, you take your seat again in the witness stand, and Gertie is just comfortably sitting back, pigeons all on her and on the table, but the pigeons are actually keeping it quiet right now.
How's it going?
Happy to be here.
No, you're not. That's okay. There's been a lot of information that has been dispensed out over the course of the trial. I was hoping that perhaps you could provide some more. I'm going to make reference points to moments in our history as shepherds, and perhaps you can confirm, deny these things that happened.
Sure.
First of all, when we first were sent to retrieve the lost child there from the Margaret Mitchell house, which lost child were they? Could you identify them by name?
Yes, this was Jackson, middle name, last name, and Raphael.
No relation. Middle
No.
name, last name. And once we retrieved them and brought them to Olivia's, do you recall what suspicion I presented to Olivia upon arrival in regards to these two?
That it was odd that they knew to wait for us.
What conclusion did we draw based on this information?
That it was a outside force working against us.
You don't have-
Possibly Sabbat.
You don't have to be coy. So, from the moment that we brought Jackson and Raphael to the Lost Childer School, we conferred and congregated with Olivia Grace on the notion that these two might be plants from the Sabbat, if not something more.
Yes.
This was known from the moment that we dropped them off,
Yes.
all the way until Jackson's assistance with the events.
Yes.
Okay. I'll look over towards Gertie. Some of the information didn't seem to come through in the original questioning. I thought I would pull some clarification points. Do you?
Do whatever you wish.
Thank you. On that note, in regards to our Sabbat encounters, do you recall the circumstances surrounding the first one with Bishop Lydia?
Yes, I do.
Would you mind recounting where we were, how we were presented this information, what we found?
I don't recall all of the specifics.
Okay, then, if you won't mind, we'll try the confirm deny thing again. Do you remember if we were at an art show, or if we were somewhere else?
Yes, we were.
Do you remember the curator of the art show?
I do, yes.
Do you remember who we met at Little Trouble?
Bishop Lydia.
Do you remember who she looked like upon meeting her?
I don't recall, no.
It's fine. It is a bit strange when the face is distorted. A piece of information that was left out was that... Actually, one more bit. Do you remember why we went to Little Trouble?
We were intending to meet with Lydia to figure out why she was here.
How did we receive this information?
From Dot.
From Dot? And to fill in the blank, it's a shame we can't call group up here, but Bishop Lydia had the face of the museum curator that we had spent the evening with.
She did, yes.
Thus, our meeting with the bishop was not planned. Dangled in front of us. Now, spinning off of that, do you remember, as Miss Rossellini alluded to, the events preceding my learning of the Oblivion discipline from you? The places that we went that night?
Yes, I do.
When we visited Georgina Ortega, why did we visit her? What did we intend to tell her?
We were trying to find out why she, any leads on Dot and missing information.
No, sorry, not that time. Earlier, just after we had met Bishop Lydia at Little Trouble, when you and I met Georgina. Do you recall us going to Joystick?
I do, yes.
Do you recall what we informed her of?
I don't, sorry.
That's okay, because I
so-
spoke with Miss Ortega during the break, because I was very confused as to why she had not informed, and this is of no blame, I might add, mistakes are made, why she had not informed Prince Alpha that we had informed her of our meeting with Bishop Lydia the night before. In fact, we visited multiple people that night to give the same information. Do you remember who else on the court we visited?
We met with Primogen Alima.
Seneschal.
Thank you.
Nervousness, I understand. We met with Seneschal Lima, and we gave the same information, I believe, did we not? In
Yes.
fact, not only that, I believe I conveyed information regarding Jackson and Raphael as well, to the same end, that it was not founded yet. And yet, are you given the impression that all of this information seems to have come to Alpha for the first time much later? Based on what we have...
It would seem convenient that it was... The impact of the messaging was delayed.
I'm not as concerned with the convenience of it. I'm more concerned with the delay. That information was provided and found and discovered through different means. And speaking of convenient, though not necessarily convenient for those involved, how many times would you say that you recall discussing the events of the Sabbat hunt that we were in and the Second Inquisition facility with Prince Alpha? Was it just the one time that you met with him, or did we communicate with him beforehand?
My focus with Alpha was direct as far as the SI discussion went. The Sabbat conversation, I think, was more recent.
You having the conversation with him about the Sabbat?
Yes.
No, yes, I'm speaking as to your presence with the other shepherds. Were you in the room when Melisande informed us of her phone call with Alpha regarding the information that Jackson had presented with us? Or were you elsewhere?
I was elsewhere.
Oh, so you would not have been present when Melisande came to us and told us, via the phone call that she made in front of us, that we'd been given the green light to infiltrate Bishop Lydia Haven.
Yes.
To take out the Sabbat as conveniently as we could, based on the information that Jackson had given us.
I was not focused in the room at the time, but I was definitely on the strike team.
That's okay. That's okay. I want to make sure. It's been a while, and not everybody who has the information was present where the information was discovered or received. You do remember Jackson showing up with the information, though?
Yes.
Presenting it to us for us to utilize against Bishop Lydia.
And Denise going through efforts to verify that information.
Yes, that was a bit later, I believe, but that did eventually happen as well. She did verify it through this information. In between then, only one other person was given the information. Do you remember who it was transmitted to?
That went through either Hex or Dot.
Thank you. And finally, just to continue to fill in the gaps, because I want to make sure that I am receiving a clear memory of everything. Do you recall the Primogen informing us that we may need to take drastic means while attempting to retrieve lost Childer?
Yes.
Do you remember what that included up to?
Up to death.
How many Primogen would you say were in the room when that statement was given to us? You can be rough if it was more than one, all of them.
It was several.
Thank you, Aaron. You can go sit down. I appreciate it.
And I'll go back sit down.
Okay. And as Aaron goes to sit down, Altummy, you've been here watching everything quietly. What's going through your head?
I need to lay low, make sure that I get out of here, make sure that he gets out of here. And whichever happens to be of more of an urgent concern moment to moment is where my priorities lie.
Anything you've done in this room, look for people, check out?
I've been hoping to see that for some reason Alpha might have somehow brought the errand that I know. And I don't know why, but if Alpha's here, that seems like an asset that he wouldn't let drift too far away. So I've been looking for that, and I've been looking for Hex, other than the one who's right here.
Okay. And Hex, you have also been here tonight. Anything particular about your appearance tonight?
I am definitely removed, probably in like a shadowed area, possibly the balcony, not where Dot is.
The balcony is limited to Primogen, but there is plenty of shadowy
Okay,
space
so
in the
there's
back.
not, we're not using the other. Okay. So Hawthorne is there, and
Mhm.
but he's sitting a little bit distance, so we're not like right next to each other. And I notice where Dot is, and I notice Moody, and I'm gonna lean over to Hawthorne and say, out of every other casual conversation we're having, Moody looks concerned.
And he just kind of nods wide-eyed, and he's doing that where like he's sort of leaning in your direction to talk and be sneaky about it. He goes, yeah, Mooney is real not good right now, not good. And he kind of gestures carefully towards Gertie. He goes, that would be Mooney's great-great-grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah, we kind of thought she was dead.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a lot. If she sees Mooney, this is gonna be more than one potential death tonight,
Oh.
and I don't know which side it'll be.
Ugh, yikes. A lot of family drama going on.
Yeah, Miss Rossellini was the Giovanni family attorney for about 130 years.
That explains why she's here now.
Yeah, Mooney thought she killed them all.
Do you think she was there when Mooney went on her, like, spree?
No clue. She might think Mooney's dead, for all I know. But she's kind of like the weird one. Like, far as I know, this is all rumor, just whatever Mooney says when she's drunk. She, like the Giovanni have this, like, inner circle. Like, not everyone in the family's a vampire. It's, like, some weird soprano shit. Like, you gotta be real special to be a vampire. But, like, she was already, like, an old crazy pigeon lady when they brought her in, because they said she was a good lawyer and they wanted to keep her. But then, like, she was like, fuck that. She was still the lawyer, but, like, she didn't want, like, none of the Giovanni shit. So she just, like, hung out with gangrels and, like, learned a bunch of gangrel shit. And now she's the fucking 250-year-old crazy pigeon lady.
Huh. Wow.
So I think, I don't think she'll kill Mooney, but Mooney will definitely kill her.
Oh, well, she's got her in her sights, so,
Yeah, whenever, like, they let people leave, I might have to break off from you and, like, go catch her real quick.
I mean, it's probably a good idea unless we want this turned into a whole family feud literal situation.
Yeah, we should really get Mooney out of here as quick as possible. So I might do that while you either scoop up your friend or tell him congrats. That was dark, I'm sorry.
I mean, this is all just some big TV drama that I'm sure that they're putting
It is,
on.
it's really fucking ridiculous.
So, I mean, if you let Moody kill her, it may cause a distraction.
I don't think that's the kind of distraction you want since we're supposed to be at peace. It's still gonna be a werewolf killing a vampire. But honestly, you want some, like, fun drama, just come to the encampment with me one day. Oh, there's good shit. There's real good shit.
I'm so there. Yeah, putting that on my calendar immediately. Okay, well, that explains why she looks like the devil. And definitely wants to eat the pigeon lady. By the way, what's up with the pigeons? I was gonna try to talk to them, but, like, are they just pigeons?
I have absolutely no clue. I know that the big warning is don't go anywhere near the fucking pigeons. Those are her babies.
Alright, well, I'm not even gonna try that then. So yeah,
No.
get that information from Hawthorne. Going to make my sights back at Dot and the people she's around? And
She is sitting by herself, just all of the Primogen are kind of in their own little, almost like the old theater boxes. So they're all kind of sequestered solo where they can watch everything, but they are by themselves.
Can I tell if she knows I'm there?
She hasn't seen you yet. She's been mainly focused on the stage, but she looks very relaxed.
Okay. Then I'm just gonna take stock of where everybody else is sitting from where I can see, and
You do see Aaron, Jackson, Pippa, and Sybil kind of congregated together. Altami is by herself. And then you see a couple familiar faces, but mainly any other Nosferatu have been like chilling at the back or at the bar.
Okay. Then yeah, I'm just gonna. I guess one last thing that to Hawthorne. Dude, I really hope I don't have to go up there because I have no idea what's going on, and they will probably hate the answers that I give.
If you have to go up there, just like save your own ass, honestly. Like, that's one thing I've gathered from vampires my whole life, no offense, and I'm really seeing it right now. This is every I'm trying to not use bad vampire words in front of you. It's every vampire for themselves. So if you have to go up there, do whatever you need to do to stay alive. Fuck everybody else.
Always full of good advice. Thank you.
I try.
Alright, and just gonna like lean back and continue watching.
And Hawthorne's going to continue to fake sip his drink that he got, not realizing this is a vampire event.
I was like, what are you drinking?
Yeah, I asked for whiskey and it doesn't taste like whiskey.
They put blood in it, and I'm just gonna like lean over and take it from you.
Thank you. It was $8.
Oh, that's okay. And I'm just gonna start drinking it.
Okay.
They're charging at the event.
All right. And Elf says, okay, Anton, you can call your next witness.
Thank you, Prince. I'm just going to look out at the audience. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that Alejandro Solina-Foto is not present tonight. Just speaking out into the audience.
And you see Sybil stiffen real quick with her eyes wide. And Sybil looks petrified until Alejandro does step out from near the bar. Not even from the shadows, he just has a black on black suit. He goes, am I in some kind of call here?
I know that you are not formally of the court, but
I am a witness all the same, I guess.
if you would be so kind, I would appreciate it. Only a few questions.
If you must. And Alejandro walks painfully slow to the stand, taking his very sweet time and making sure to not make eye contact with Sybil or Aaron as he goes up. And he goes, and he sits down in his chair.
I'm appreciative. Obviously, you have the capacity to not be seen if you do not wish. I appreciate you coming up here.
You called. I came up here.
It's admirable of you.
We shall see.
How would you describe our first interaction?
Annoying.
Why?
You set my house on fire.
Was it only because of that, or was it because of more?
That's why it was annoying. You set my house on fire.
Very fair. Was it your house, or was it the facility you were staying in?
At the time, it was my house.
Just one, not the other.
Just one.
How would you describe our direct interaction? Our verbal interaction?
You are foolish in not escaping when you should. I felt the need to illustrate to you the danger of the situation, and when that still did not leverage an easy escape for you and your friends, I facilitated it by throwing you out the window.
Do you recall, or did you observe why I did not leave?
It was not in my purview to see the direct situation that you were in.
Just enough that I was staying behind.
Yes.
But I did not, and none of my coterie seems to want to stay behind at your initial offer, did we?
No, you did not.
How adamant would you say we were against going against our city's Camarilla for your offer?
I would not have an opinion on that, as we did not discuss it in any detail. In fact, you and your coterie made sure I knew very well in the Waffle House to fuck off.
It would be fair to assume that we were more steadfast in our allegiances where we sat, as opposed to going into other oppositions.
I would not specifically agree. If I recall, I left our conversation before it was done due to the numerous insults leveraged at me, so I do not have an opinion on your status with the Camarilla.
That is fair. I'm not so much asking my status, I'm asking...
Your loyalty, your allegiance is, my apologies, language.
No, I'm not even asking my loyalty or allegiances. I'm simply asking how willing did any of us seem to pull up stakes and just take up an offer to do anything else?
I would have no opinion as such, as I was not listened to in the conversation. It is hard to discern whether such adamant refusal to talk comes from a noble place or from an obstinate place.
Ignorance is not intent.
My apologies?
Is that... I'm summarizing. Ignorance is not intent?
I am saying I have no idea of your intentions due to the refusal for a conversation to be had.
Yes. Thus, because we refused to listen, because we remained ignorant of your stance, it isn't hard for you to determine our intent.
It is impossible to determine the intent because a conversation could not be had.
I believe
Thus, we
saying...
are left with two paths. You either did not want to talk because you viewed me as a boogeyman in your fairy tale,
Mhm.
or you did not want to talk due to honesty and loyalties. It is impossible to know which.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate that insight. You still do not consider yourself loyal to the Camarilla, but you do not consider yourself loyal to any sect.
I have been granted freedom to remain independent by the prince, as a thank you for my service.
Would you mind giving your honest opinion of these sects as they stand in Atlanta?
As in their status within the city of Atlanta, or my opinion of their behaviors.
Your opinion of their behaviors in the city of Atlanta?
I find all sects of all kinds, no matter their status, to be self-serving, arrogant, and willing to throw anyone in their ranks under the wheels of the goddamn train in order to benefit what they feel is a greater good.
Your stance has certainly been noted, but I was speaking more so in specifics to Atlanta Camarilla, Atlanta Sabat, perhaps even Atlanta Anarchs, if there are any left.
I feel them not to be too different from their grander counterparts.
Your opinion is noted. I will not take up any more of your time, Alejandro. Thank you.
And he stands and walks very slowly back to where he was standing, continuing to make sure to not make eye contact with anyone.
Interesting.
And after that, Aaron and Jackson, you two are sitting together.
Mm-hmm.
How are you two feeling during this?
Jackson, did I do a good job up there? 'Cause so far, it doesn't seem like I could have done as well. Maybe things are going a different direction and that was a pivot point, or my focus was off for most of the questions for most of those nights because I was either hungry or angry, but I wanted to help and I feel like I didn't.
I think you did the best you could, And I think that is apparent to everyone.
Okay.
Storyteller, I'm going to start making my way towards them.
Okay.
I don't mean that in a bad way.
Maybe if everyone's out for themselves, this is the slight nudge above half good and bad that pushes it like 51% instead of half and half.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems reasonable to me. Oh, hi.
Gentlemen, Aaron,
Yep.
you did tell him what I said, correct?
Yes.
Then why in the world is he still trying to prove anything? It's not going to matter.
I can't speak for Anton.
Right now, he's trying so hard to dig for actual evidence, and I don't see it going anywhere, personally. I don't know, Jackson, if he's going to call you.
I have no idea.
It's likely at this point they've already called you before, and it seems to be a tactic. I'm not sure that he will. I know that that's not a game that you play. Diplomacy is not something that either of you want to do if you don't have to. If there is any way that you can, with his interrogation, if there's any way that you can turn the focus off of the evidence and turn it onto the nature of the Camarilla of Atlanta, that is the best way that I could say that any of this might go in his favor. The more that we try and compare his actions as being commonplace, which, believe me, in the limited amount of experience that I've had with all of you and the memories that I do have, that is exactly what this is.
Oh, yeah.
His actions, as far as I'm aware of them, are not unusual. So if you, upon being questioned, are able to, you don't need to give a grand sweeping statement, but if you can say anything close to within your view of the Camarilla, and I know that yours is very particular, if you can keep that focus there, that might be something.
That's a good point. Yeah.
I don't know if there's anything else I can do.
Well, we'll see if he calls me.
How's your singing?
Hmm?
I'm thinking Here Comes the Sun might be a good prompt for how things go.
I can see if...
Sorry.
Yeah, I can find something.
Okay.
I'm gonna just stick with you guys, if that's okay. I don't really...
There's no reason for you to interact with other people who
Thank
might
you.
start digging.
Thank you.
Yeah, have a seat.
So you are... you did so good that last time. How are you after that first time?
First time, last time. Sorry.
With Miss Rosalini.
She is a special character.
She is adept.
Yep.
You, believe it or not, and this is why other than the fact that you've already gone and I only just have this thought, you are actually quite adept when it comes to being very delicate in a situation. You don't say more than you absolutely have to.
I try not to.
That can keep going. Look, how do you feel about that first time with her?
It was a little intensive.
It was?
I felt like...
You lied.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
wasn't like I swore on a book or anything.
I know, but I don't...
I'm really curious about something about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I promise I'm not full of bugs. if
Yeah,
that's what
no.
Okay.
Storyteller. I'm going to activate Feral Whispers.
Okay.
I'm just going to listen to Gertie and the pigeons.
What you get sounds like recess of toddlers. Just... It is a cacophony of asking for seeds, asking if they can sit on her shoulder, asking if they can sit on her head. Who is this person? Who is that person? Why aren't they giving me seeds? Why aren't they giving me bread? What is happening here? I want to sit on your shoulder. I want to sit on your head. And Gertie you can hear is very quietly soothing them, talking to them. Yes, you can sit on the shoulder when he's done. It's his turn right now. You can go to the other shoulder if you want. You don't want to go to the other shoulder? Okay, then you're going to have to wait. Okay. Well, that's why we learn patience.
Yeah.
And
That's what I thought.
through her external calm demeanor, there is a very preoccupied pre-K teacher. And every single one of them is incessantly talking. You can catch bits and pieces here and there, but it's very much recess.
I turn it off.
Mm-hmm.
Ow. That was chaos.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
What'd you do?
I listened to
To her?
listen to the birds. I don't think the bird knew you were lying.
Huh.
FYI.
I hate this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't like politics. But that's important to note. She's smarter than she puts on.
Okay.
More astute anyway, which I think we knew, but still.
Are they kindred or not kindred?
The birds?
Yeah.
No, those are
So if a few go missing after the court, that's just fine.
I mean, she might not be okay with it, but
We'll worry about that later. Charlie.
Storyteller, I already rolled for it, so I don't know if I
Okay.
can do it or not, but I would have wanted to, when I saw Altami go, I want to have noticed a moth, and I want to subsume the spirit the moth and listen to their conversation.
You can absolutely do that.
Okay,
since-
so I rolled, I got hungrier, and I have little stars around one of them, but I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a 5 critical. You're absolutely listening in as a little moth.
Okay.
Your regular form is leaned against the wall.
Yeah,
Very, very
probably
dead-eyed.
spilled my drink.
Hawthorne's just like... oh, she's out.
Warging out, right?
Yeah.
Napping.
Yeah.
During the,
It's gotta be so loud for a moth.
Yeah, it is very
It's probably-
echoey in here. It's loud, but as you get close to them, you can hear them talk.
yeah.
Thank you for the advice.
Yeah.
If there's any cross-examination, I will be ready to play.
Okay.
how are you doing in here?
No one's approached me. I'm not sure if that is a matter of time. I'm not sure if that is because that is an order on anyone's behalf.
And no one's approached us either, so they might just be avoiding talking to any of the shepherds.
Okay, yeah.
Did you and other... I don't know who will... I can ask you other things later. Right now we're focused on Anton.
Okay. Yeah. At this point, I'm having a very hard time not just wanting to get out here, but I need to find out what's going to happen the minute we have any kind of an answer about where they might take him, and that includes whether or not there is a sentence of not guilty or anything like that. If they take him somewhere, we have to go with them, if we can.
We can be pretty adamant.
Okay. Okay.
Or stubborn. Both.
Or not.
Or quiet.
Yeah.
Or a bird. Fine.
There it is. There it is.
Some of us are bird people, remember?
Disgusting. Sorry.
Excuse you.
Sorry.
All right. And so, Anton, Alva says, all right, you got 2 more witnesses you can call. You need a minute to gather anything?
And this whole time, been looking like back and forth between the group of people that I know close to the front, so this crew, and up to the Primogen deck. And if I can catch any of their eyes at any point, just like just seeing how much they're talking, or just give like a quizzical look, like trying to see if like they have something that's useful, if it's just nothing.
And so Anton catching looks with you all.
I give him the exact same look back. I'm like,
Just a quick sorry.
I'll just kind of be like, just say I have an idea, but I don't know if it's enough.
You all right, Anton?
Weighing options, I'd like to call Primogen Proctor to the stand.
And the room goes sick with silence. And Proctor stands up and kind of twists her head from side to side and
His house.
takes a deep breath that she doesn't need and walks down to the stage with Tilly looking quite upset as Proctor walks past her. And Proctor just kind of puts a hand up for Tilly and just, it's okay. She walks down. It takes a minute from the stairs. She goes up to the stage and just sits down. All right, let's get it over with.
Thank you. Forgive me, the usual list of who we were going to call is not here along with the person I was going to be doing it.
I honestly figured you would at some point, so go ahead.
2 questions based off of what I asked Aaron earlier, and then a different line for you.
Mm-hmm.
Were you present with the other Primogen when it was stated that we may need to take drastic measures, including final death, with lost child there?
I don't remember if I was directly there. I remember it was discussed among the Primogen before your meeting.
Okay. And do you remember how I took the full scope of what happened after that with Catherine?
Can you elaborate on your question?
I'm asking you to recount our meeting at your home when the full scope of information was given to me. How I was before, how I was after.
That would be hard to say, given that to drive the point home, you had to bear witness to the actual consequences of your actions.
Exactly. And I'm asking you, once I was given a full understanding of the consequences that I did not understand when going in, how would you describe the difference?
You're not gonna like my answer.
I know. But I did not call you up here to get things I like.
I think it didn't change a damn thing about how you felt about the situation. I think it gave you guilt to know the ripple effect that your actions cause, and that had no one been hurt by what you did, I don't think you'd feel a damn bit different. You have guilt. Survivor's guilt, we'll call it. And you've had that since the final nights. It only matters to you when someone else, unintended, gets hurt. Doesn't change that you still thought you did the right thing.
Sounds about right. How would you describe your experience with me since you become Primogen, or even beforehand? Speaking of not wanting to call you up here for things that I want to hear.
You are my youngest and most problematic son.
Why am I the most problematic?
Because others know how to behave within their rules to get what they need done, and to do what they need within the rules. You have never had an affinity for it. It's like the baby of any family. You have an arrogance for what you do, that if you think it's right, then nothing else matters.
And you would say that over the course of this time and these actions, I have yet to learn this?
Yes. You've yet to learn it because you have not yet truly been harmed by your own actions yet. And that's when most of us learn. You escaped the final nights. For that, I'm fucking grateful. But I don't think it taught you very much, other than how to lash out from the pain that sits deep within your unbeaten heart.
Thank you, Proctor. That is why I wanted you up here. No further questions?
Your choice, then. And she gets up and goes back to her seat. And you can see, very briefly, as she passes Tilly, she just squeezes her hand as tears of blood are running down Tilly's face. And she goes back to her seat. And Alpha's just sitting there dumbfounded, just reaching for his glass of whiskey, like...
Just give him just a very wry smile.
All right. I'm gonna need a minute. Talk amongst yourselves.
I still have one more after that, yes?
Yes, you do.
Thank you.
Well, that was a read.
And just for the people observing, Anton does not look fazed by that. Like, it doesn't look like, ouch, I just got ripped to shit. It looks like he was expecting that.
Why do I feel like that was the most helpful thing anyone said so far?
We better have been.
Hex, are you still listening in also?
I am. I actually was
Okay.
gonna land on Jackson's shoulder.
Okay.
Oh God. I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm definitely gonna land, like do that moth thing.
You would poof back if...
I
you
know,
did.
but it would just be really terrible for the little moth. He's gonna die soon anyway, so.
Okay. That's a person. Anyway.
I don't know what to do. I can't do anything. I have no idea what he thinks he's doing at this point.
I never have, so no help there.
Contingencies?
Like I said, wherever they take him.
Okay.
What if they don't take him anywhere? What
As
if
in, what if he's sentenced and they carry out sentence right here?
Yeah. I've seen it happen before.
Yeah. So is she.
I'll whisper over to Sybil.
Mhm.
Sybil, can you shadow drop other people? Are you at that point yet?
What do you mean shadow drop?
Okay. If you were to walk somewhere else in the dark,
Like sneak in the dark? Yeah, I can pull someone.
okay, you wouldn't like lose them somewhere.
It's gonna traumatize
You would
you.
get them somewhere else.
It'll fuck you up.
Okay.
From what I gather, when I'm in there, not the same when you're in there. Kind of like the people who can walk on hot coals and like you've never done it before and then you try and walk on it. No, it. From what Pop says, you don't come out the same.
That sounds fun.
I mean, if it's an emergency.
It might have to be.
Okay.
Work on your confidence. Okay.
Pops is like here too.
Mhm. I don't want to ask you something you don't want to do.
I mean, like, if it's an emergency, I can try. I just, it might not be much better.
Hmm. Thank you.
Yeah. She just sits back, if she could get much paler right now, she would be. And Pippa is just sitting there like just 1,000-yard stare, but patting Sybil on the shoulder. Like just...
Theory. This is all different. Never seen any Camarilla City go through the charade of a trial before.
Neither is she.
What's to say that doesn't mean the outcome will also be different? Even if he is found guilty.
That's the only idea I have, is trying to appeal to Alpha's sense of vision for the city. That's all I've got. I have to take this away from the focus on Anton. Otherwise, I have no idea what he's trying to do, except provoke absolutely everyone in the room.
He's good at that.
Storyteller, can I take a closer look at Alpha?
Mm-hmm.
Using my background and history with him, can I get a read on him, how he's behaving?
I will say give me wits and awareness plus 1 extra die for your history with him.
Gotcha. Uh, 3 crit.
Wonderful. Alpha is overwhelmed, annoyed. He generally gets this kind of demeanor when there is petty drama at the compound that he has to step in and play dad for. So it seems like he's a little bit over it, but at the same time there is a level of nerves about him. He seems quite conflicted, even if he doesn't appear like he wants to be here.
Okay. Thank you. And I'm just going to share with the group that maybe sentencing won't happen right away. It might take a little bit of time to reflect. If it's all for a show, that part's probably a show as well.
That's the thing I can't wrap my head around. Alpha's not theatrical. I mean, he understands the importance of theater, clearly. But, I mean, it feels like he really is putting everyone through a pace that he wants to maintain, and he can't just want this to happen to one outcome. He can't possibly want that, but that's more to the point. If he is looking to set a precedent within a Camarilla, then he's already started it, and so he needs something else. He needs this to end differently than every other praxis.
It's not always blood hunt, it's banishment. It could be something.
Exactly. There's a variety of different things that could be done that so many leaders haven't done. And I don't know what he wants, but I don't think he's gonna get it if everyone here is just provoked to kill.
All right. Last person off the bat.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see who he calls.
And I think with that, it's a great time for us to take our break. We're going to get some water, stretch our legs. You all do the same. We'll be back in a few minutes. welcome back. And so Alpha has gestured to Anton. All right, call your last witness.
Anton's... Conversely to the previous time, Anton is looking everywhere but the Primogen stand.
Mm-hmm.
Looking back at the group, just like... Benjamin, I suppose it's expected anyway. I'd like to call Dot Matrix.
And Alpha just kind of gives a look of like, yep. And Dot stands and proceeds to walk down to the stand and goes to take her seat. And she goes, you really know how to keep a girl waiting.
It's the suspense that makes it enjoyable, yes?
Oh, always. It's the most exciting part. Go ahead.
If Jackson is even remotely listening, like, I'm like, oh God, and then like the moth just flies away because I'm going back to my body.
He just hears us like from a moth.
He does that for a whisper.
Well,
You may have noticed a pattern of me using my time here to clarify some points. I was hoping I could clarify some with you.
Yes, you seem to be doing really well at clarifying that most people don't like you.
I didn't need an audience for that.
No, we all pretty much know that by default. But enough of humor. Go ahead.
How long have you been compiling information on me for the purpose of this trial? Or just scratch the second part. Let's call it in general. I know that in general it is since you ever met me.
I've been gathering information on every person in this city from the entire time that they became known to me. It's what Nosferatu do.
So why now, as opposed to at any point from when you met me?
Because you used to just be an arrogant little Tremere, and no offense to the, 5 of you that remain, that's pretty par for the course. But this past year, your behavior has increased in its recklessness to a point where I could no longer ignore it.
Now, is this a recklessness that is outside of the norm for the Camarilla, or outside of the comfort of the current Camarilla as it exists in the city?
Outside of the norm for you.
So the concern is more so with myself and not so much me comparative to the Camarilla.
In the Nosferatu, risk management is something we specialize in.
You do have a lot of forethought.
When you begin to behave outside your order, or your common ground, your common behavior, it is a cause for concern of what might be to come.
You do like forward planning.
Every Nosferatu likes forward planning.
On that note, could you tell me a bit more about the lost child that we retrieved from Six Flags over a year ago?
Yes, Mouse.
Yes.
Fully naturalized within the Camarilla now.
Yes, you told us something in regards to the acquisition of Mouse, as she was of quite a young age, usually younger than the Camarilla wishes, but this was still acceptable to bring her in. Do you remember the statement? It was one that Talbot had made.
I honestly can't recall.
Okay, does this sound familiar? It is within the Shepherd's purview that any lost child they're deemed savable be brought in, regardless of their background, situation, and so forth.
Yes, that was the rule.
And that still is the rule for all lost child that we brought in, or handled in other ways,
Yes.
or even spoken to.
Yes,
You agree with this rule?
of course I do.
Could you tell us a bit more about the rules that you do not agree with?
Which ones?
You had a lot of ideas for reworking when we spoke prior to Alpha taking the chair.
As we all do.
Yes, you were very strong with your vision of the future.
I'm a bit more old school than Talbot would allow.
So you were hoping to revert back to normalcy as opposed to the way that we have things now.
I come from an old style of Camarilla. We always had order.
So this way is not suitable for you,
I find it suitable now.
but not when you were giving us your input.
Just because ideas are new and unwelcome at the time does not mean that once one sees them in practice, they become much more clear as to the vision of the original holder.
That's fair. You would need to see quite a bit of it in practice after, the way that it came in the fever dream to Talbot. Or were you instrumental in writing it? I'm a bit confused. You told us both.
I told you whatever you needed to hear at the time to placate you.
You did, and it was within 2 minutes of each other.
Yes.
That you were instrumental. You specifically, not the Primogen. You were instrumental in the writing of this Camarilla, and also Talbot worked it up in the fever dream and forced Olivia to write it out.
Talbot had a fever dream of how he wanted things to be. It was too grand. It was too free. I helped him understand the middle ground between his fever dream and the Camarilla. He then proceeded to, as Talbot was wont to do, dream up an even grander version of the middle ground that we had agreed upon, and that was what Olivia wrote.
But you specifically.
What about me specifically?
That you were the instrumental one in the development of the Renasherie Camarilla.
I helped Talbot's vision meet reality.
I just glanced up at the Primogen balcony, not looking for anything, just kind of glanced up at them in a way where they will see me glance up at them.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the clarification. The conversation that we had was very startling to some of us. The abrupt changes that you wanted to make when we had hardly even cemented these ideas that you now find favorable.
Yes. As I said, Talbot was a big dreamer, not always for the best. And much in your situation, I saw what was coming from Talbot a mile away, and I did what I could to mitigate it. But I would be remiss if I didn't say that with time, I have grown to see that Talbot was not as wild as he seemed in that day. A broken clock is right twice a day.
That it is. You saw this coming from Prince Talbot.
Not the exact nature of what led to his demise, but I knew something was wrong. And every time I've known something was wrong, that gut feeling, I've been correct.
I appreciate the clarification. I was wondering how you went from seeing this coming to locked in a freezer in the mall that burned down.
By the time Talbot was far gone, there was nothing I could do. And I will carry that guilt and shame with me for the rest of eternity, as I cared quite deeply for Talbot.
We all carry guilt for our mistakes. Do we not?
Some know how to learn from them more than others.
And with some of them, their pasts are, and their mistakes are still useful. To a point. Why did you agree that it should be me to execute Prince Talbot over any of the others?
Well, I found your bravado over it odd at the time.
I find that odd too, considering that I had no bravado. In fact,
Would you prefer I answer, or would you prefer to interrupt me?
a little bit of both. I'm curious as to what bravado you saw.
Again, your arrogance is legendary. Now, if I may finish my original answer. Well, I found your bravado of it odd. Of all of us that were in that room that night, you would have done it with reverence. And I agreed to your reverence of the situation. I found you to be the one that would understand the gravity of it.
As opposed to those older than me, such as Melisandre or Thomasina.
They did not know Talbot as you did.
I did not know Talbot that well either, come to think of it. Mainly knew him through you, and my help in building the original network.
But you have also experienced things that no one else has.
That is true.
In your group, at least.
And before, as you said. Legendary, yes? Nicknames and all.
Indeed.
How did you earn your nickname?
Which I have many.
Fang Ripper.
Oh, weren't you aware? Every Nosferatu in this city knows about it.
I am no Nosferatu, and I did not see you very much, or at all actually, during the final nights. I was with my group of Tremere.
Oh, I'm not even talking during the final nights. Had you ever actually spent time in my haven, you would see I actually have a very lovely shadow box filled with 500 fangs. All Sabbat, all cowards, all shovelheads, all filthy mongrels that roamed my city. And when they ran to me, thinking that clearly a Nosferatu would be so easy to pull along into their schemes, I ripped out their fangs and showed them that they are nothing in kindred society. And I kept them as a reminder that lowlifes like that will never get a foothold in my city.
Not so different, you and I, after all. Our trophies to remind us of the past and our stance on the Sabbat in Atlanta.
My trophies were never icons of the leaders. I always found it weird that you had a trophy case. I have a shadow box filled with teeth.
I had a display box that I salvaged from Elysium after it fell. It was big enough to hold things.
And you chose to prominently display rosaries like a serial killer.
You know, much like you said, if you had spent time in my haven, you would see that it was rather covered and tucked away to the side. In fact,
I have spent time in your haven.
and I'll look over to Aaron and Hex. In fact, I do not believe that any of my coterie had been informed of these either, as I had kept them away.
It is still a strange thing of pride, but that comes down to personal opinion. A shoebox of rosaries I could understand.
A shadow box has a bit of a flair to it too, but, you know, to each their own. Regardless.
A shadow box is easier to fill with teeth, to be honest. I had a late night break-in at the craft store, and it was the best I found.
Once again, you and I are not so different after all, salvaging what we can to gain what we can. Thank you for so openly stating your opinion and stance of the Sabbat. I had not known this prior, and I think it does the city very well to hear it on record. I have no more questions. Thank you, Dot.
You're welcome, King Killer. And she gets up and slowly walks back to her seat. Falcon very tense as she walks by. If she could sweat, she clearly would be.
Is Falcon at all looking at the stage?
No, she's looking at her feet.
Okay. I'll turn to Alpha and go. Is cross-examination now, yes?
Yeah, I'm gonna let Gertie go first so you can take a break.
Of course. Miss Rosalina, are you planning on cross-examining me, or should I go sit down?
Oh no, you can sit down.
Thank you. I will return to my seat.
And Gertie stands up. And she kind of looks around at the pigeons, and all of the pigeons walk off of her arms and her head and all sit politely on the table and around it, all of them fully sitting in unison together. And she walks up and she smiles softly and she goes, I would like to call... Oh, goodness. Hexadecimal to the stand.
Well, shit.
And Alpha's like, is she even here? Hex, are you here?
As I look at Hawthorne, I don't want to do this.
Hawthorne's like, fucking save yourself. Save yourself.
Alright, I'm gonna go up to the stage.
Okay.
Hi.
Hi. My name's Gertrude Rossellini. How sweet to meet you.
Hi, Rosie.
Oh, you can call me Gertie. It's fine. Would you like a pigeon? They're very calming.
I'm gonna look out and see the group like Aaron's like, no. But Jackson says yes. Sure.
Okay, come here, Abel. And she gets a little pigeon and she sets it in your hand. And he just nestles in to your hand. She goes, I find it's good to have something to bring you calm before tense questions.
Okay, thanks.
Now, you'll have to forgive me. These questions might seem like they don't connect, but I'll assure you they do.
Okay.
You are quite close with Mr. Kravopaskov, is that right?
Yes.
Longtime friends, we'll call it.
Yes.
And Primogen.Matrix would be your sire, is that correct?
Yes.
Are you unsure?
No.
Okay. Wonderful. Given that the nexus event of this situation...
Hold on. In that, I'm gonna look towards like everyone else because I don't know who else in the room knew that. So I'm looking like towards.
There are a few
Primogen.
surprised faces.
Okay.
The Primogen aren't flinching and Alpha hasn't flinched.
Okay.
I guess they do know.
But a lot of the general people of the audience are like, the fuck? Doss is in the back like... And Hawthorne's like... And she goes, given that the nexus event of this situation is your best friend versus your mother, or mother figure, how does that make you feel?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
I understand. But please answer the question.
Thanks.
I feel conflicted.
You find fault and good in both sides.
Always.
That is a very pragmatic approach. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
Now, how do you feel about Prince Alpha and how he's caring for the city, doing a good job or whatnot?
I feel conflicted.
Understandable. That honesty is very much appreciated. Honesty, I'm sure, that comes from having such a powerful mother.
That's not a question, is it?
No.
Okay, good.
Have you had connection with the Sabbat outside of your meeting, which we have previously discussed, your coterie, meeting with Bishop Lydia? Have you personally had any conversations with those that you know to be Sabbat?
Met Lydia at the Egyptian party,
Oh, yes, I was aware she was there.
and she was really mean.
That is an astute observation of the Sabbat. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Now, if you had to choose tonight a fate for your friend, do you feel that he is capable of continuing to live within the city of Atlanta without compromising her well-being?
I'm sorry, without compromising whose well-being?
The city.
Oh. Yes.
I do appreciate that honesty. You may go sit down now, love.
Thanks.
And she reaches to get Abel out of your hand and sets him back on the table.
I'm going to note which one is Abel, and I'm going to go back to my seat.
Just smile at Hex and she walks away, but I'm not gonna hold her attention.
And Alpha looks very confused and goes, okay. Anton, your cross-examination, I guess?
Oh, Mr. Rossellini, were you done with people? Or are we going back and forth?
Oh, we're only calling one each.
I thought it was two. My apologies. Would you mind taking the stand?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And she turns to her pigeons, who all go perfectly still, and then she goes to take a seat at the stand. Yes.
I appreciate your fervor on the side of the city and the Camarilla during this trial.
It's what I've always done.
I won't be so bold as to ask you where you got all of this information about me, but I am curious what your opinion is of all of the filling in of the holes that was in it over the course of this trial.
I'm afraid you've put me on trial, not my pigeons.
I do not understand. Would you mind elaborating?
I only get what they find me.
Very well. No offense towards them is intended, but
Oh, they'll make sure to show you if they're offended.
very fair. I was, of course, you cannot blame me, curious as to... We have all this information come in, and then I fill in numerous gaps with conversation that were not in your stance. I was curious as to how you felt about this.
My dear boy, have you practiced law?
Never.
That would explain it.
I thought that was obvious.
One can never be too sure with kindred age.
I'm a teacher, and not of law. Was a teacher. Still am. We'll see.
You see, my job as the prosecutor,
Yes.
as any prosecutor's job, my job isn't to necessarily ask you direct, truthful questions. My job is to give you the rope and see what you do with it.
Naturally.
I have never sworn that anything I asked tonight was 100% the truth.
I don't believe any of us did, actually, now that you say it.
Precisely. We are here to discuss the nature of your behaviors.
Yes.
If I have to rile you up to get what I think might be an appropriate answer or an appropriate dig for further information into something that we don't fully have, that is my job.
Yes, it is. Was that always your job? When
Yes.
you were alive as well?
Yes.
We've been in the city for a while. Your name carries a bit of a history with it.
Yes, it does.
But you are not associated with the clan that your name implies.
They're all dead.
Yes, I'm assuming that you were not embraced long after they were all dead.
You think I was embraced after they died?
No, I'm assuming that you were not embraced after they died. Thus, I'm curious.
Oh, goodness me, no.
Thus, it is curious. I will not. Some things you do not have to ask, but it still remains curious how someone of your background, from your family, from that clan, wound up as, dare I say, far away from that clan as possible.
I'm sorry, do you have a perfect relationship with your family?
Absolutely not.
Well, then this seems an asinine question.
Just curious as to your past and how much it informed your future.
I served my family well up until they died. Doesn't mean I enjoy having wine with them.
That is fair. Who am I to hold you accountable for the actions of your past? It is now that matters, yes?
I'm not the one on trial, Mr. Krovopeskov, but if I was, the color of my past would absolutely have bearing on my future.
That is very good to know, Miss Rossellini. Thank you. I'm completed.
Very well. And all of her pigeons stand up in unison as she returns to the table and they sit back down.
And as I go back to my table, I'm going to look to Alpha and Scope. For the sake of procedure, how close are we going to court? Are we doing closing statements, or is there just conferring?
I'm gonna go confer and think about this shit while you behave yourselves.
So so there is no closing statement from us.
No, because there's no jury, there's just me. And I've heard enough. I'm sorry, after all this talking, do you still need to do more?
I was hoping to confer with you. Could be sidebar, could be in front of everybody, but I was...
Fucking shit. Get it on. Go.
That's fine.
No, give your closing statement. Fine. Gertie, think of something. And she just goes, okay. Go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate it. As mentioned, I'm still learning. And that is actually the theme of things here. Still learning. I was a teacher in my life and in my unlife. And I have to admit that I feel as though the teacher, Anton, would be severely disappointed that the kindred Anton did not learn the lessons that he continued to push and harp on his students in terms of follow-through. You see, there are many things that I've learned tonight, thanks to the enlightenment that has happened, and that we learned tonight, such as delivering Jackson and Raphael to Olivia and informing her of suspicion. But you were unaware. The various things that we were given in terms of direction as shepherds that did not carry through all the way. Information passed to some that did not make its way up the chain. And in the instances where I was involved, I take full fault for this. But I would like to offer that if I am guilty of something in the city, it is, as Proctor pointed out, ignorance and arrogance of assuming that I know how this Camarilla works, how this chain of command works, and simply assuming that it is not my job to take the tasks I'm working on and follow them through all the way. So for the actions that have sprung from not malice but ignorance, and the fault that has come from it, I very much admit fault. Though I might posit that if we are to try every kindred in the city under these circumstances, we might be here a while. Nevertheless, I will accept the consequences of these actions and simply hope for a chance to learn to see things through properly in this Camarilla. And I'll go sit back down.
All right, Gertie, what you got? She stands up and goes, nothing. He goes, all right then. You sure, Gertie? I've heard all I need to hear, and I think you got everything you need. He goes, thank you, ma'am. All right, I've heard enough. I'm gonna go in the back. I'll be back with my verdict. And Alpha heads towards the back, holding up his hand to stop Alima as she attempts to join him.
Well, that was a choice.
Going to give a very wry smile to the group of my assembled coterie from the stage. And if she sees me transition it up to Proctor before just gathering what bits of things I had for this trial.
Proctor is staring you down pretty hard.
I'm gonna try to do feral whispers on one of these birds.
Okay. I imagine the one that you know to be
it's able. Yeah.
Okay.
Do I need to do another rouse check, or can I just deal with the one I've already done? It just says cost 1 rouse check per type of animal.
Yes.
Okay.
As this is a new animal.
It is. That was a failure. So
Got the hunger.
I'm hungry, and I'm adding one more because I get to use charisma instead of manipulation. I got good charisma.
All right.
So 1, 2. Oh wait, this one. 4 with 2 sparklies.
Okay. So that comes out to 6.
Okay.
6 crit.
All right. I'm gonna chat with the able pigeon, just try to see. And I guess this is my first time. I couldn't hear the conversation that Jackson had with the bird.
Right.
Abel, hey. How do you get all this information? You're really good at it.
I go everywhere.
Oh. So, like, do you know what your mom is thinking sometimes?
When she touches me,
Can you tell what she's thinking now?
no.
If trying to think of something helpful this bird can give me. Do you like living with your bird friends and your mom?
Yes,
What?
very much. Lots of seed.
Oh. Would you give me information too sometimes? If I gave you some seeds?
Seeds. Yes. Information for seeds.
Okay. All right. Will you remember? I don't think it'll remember. Okay. Crap. Can I tell? Oh wait. If I'm talking to them, I can also see what Rosalini's doing, right?
Yeah, you can see the Abel's like looking dead at you.
Okay, but can does it seem like she can tell?
No,
them?
the pigeons are kind of milling about a little bit.
Okay. Do any of them have any distinguishing like things on them, like a sticker or like a? Cause they're pigeons. Do they have like a weird leg or anything wrapped around their legs or something like that? Dang it! I want this pigeon. Okay, so, okay. You've been very helpful, Abel. And
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye. And look at Hawthorne and be like, I pick the dumbest animals to talk to sometimes. No offense to you.
Yeah, no, that's on par. That's on par. That makes perfect sense why you date me.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
Anyway,
fine.
can you remember animals really well? Like other ones?
Yeah, like that's kind of my thing.
Okay, you remember the keep an eye on that bird that I was holding. His name's Abel.
Okay.
Just for future reference, I got it.
Do I need to like catch him?
I'm gonna say yes. Could you beat the Rossellini lady in a fight? I'm gonna say yes.
You haven't seen me like so
If we can leave with the pigeon, that'd be great.
like a party favor.
Yeah.
I don't think I should like Krenos out in here, but I'll do what I can, babe.
Okay. Appreciate it. You know, some girls ask for different things. I just want a pigeon. I feel like easy.
You know, some girls could just ask for flowers. All right. I mean, I love you. It's what I gotta do.
Alright. Getting a pigeon. Anyway, seriously, is Anton screwed?
So I can only speak from Garu standpoints, like from Glasswalker. To be honest, I'm really surprised him and Alpha haven't like had mano-a-mano combat, but that's what I'm used to. Like normally, we just go out to an alley, we fucking fight it out, or more so, we go down to College Park and fight it out.
Okay. Yeah, last time they just killed the guy that would have been on trial, so.
Yeah, it's a broad range. There's a lot of variance in there.
Okay, yeah. Did I do good though?
Yeah, I think you did great.
Okay.
It seemed like she just wanted to check in with you. That was weird.
That is weird. Also, she told everybody about Dot, which is also weird. So, okay.
Is that like
everything's-
something people aren't supposed to know?
I thought so.
I thought I just didn't know because like, or that I wasn't supposed to know because werewolf shit.
Oh, I mean, it was being kept tight, and it's mostly because I don't think she was supposed to turn me at the time, you know? So,
So then lie about when you were turned. Like if everybody knows she's your mom now, then just like, can't just the both of y'all lie and be like, yeah, I'm 20 years old.
do I look 40 years old? Oh, well, okay. Point taken.
Babe, I'm gonna look 40 like soon and you're not. So
That's very true. Okay, well, no, that's probably not going to be a big deal, but also her whole spiel about being anti-Sabbat is very opposite of what people have been talking about, so I'm even more confused after this, and,
yeah, that was weird. Unless maybe she's like trying to pull some like fucking like 3D chess shit where she's like pulling all the big Sabbat people in together and then she's just gonna slaughter them and like, wow, hero of the city.
I mean, it's on par for Dot and every other...
I read a lot of comic books and that like always happens in the comic books.
Yeah. It's very on par for her and all the triple crossing Sabbat that I have met so far, so...
Yeah, I honestly thought the Sabbat were like supposed to be mostly stupid. I'm kind of surprised.
I have no comment on the statement, but I will be sure to relay that you are surprised by the sentiment.
Oh, please don't say that. Someone's gonna kick my ass, and then I'm gonna have to, and
Yeah,
it's gonna.
You'll be okay.
Don't make me fuck up the treaty.
Okay, I'll just say like I said it.
Oh, okay.
All right. But yeah, that's. I guess we just now wait. But if things go sour, you did promise me this bird, and I may have to go a little crazy. So, like, if I scratch you, just know why.
Okay.
Worst case scenario.
You need to understand that that's going to become a worser case scenario if you do that.
I mean, my friends are talking about some other worser case scenarios.
Grab literally anybody else but me. You don't want the smoke.
Okay.
And I mean that quite literally. Like, I saw way back when one of your kind tried to eat one of my kind. Let me tell you, not good. Very, very not good.
Nope.
Like every drug known to man at once.
I mean, if we got a PCP out of this place, I'm just saying, it's an option, not the option.
It's like a Florida man option. I don't know about that.
I just don't know.
I'll grab you someone. How's that?
Okay.
Okay. If you gotta eat, I'll grab you a person.
All right.
I'm no problem with that whatsoever. I will fucking I don't know these people. I don't care who I grab.
Okay. All right. So.
All right. Do you need to go talk to your friends? Like, I can pretend like I belong here.
You know, I'm just gonna wait and see what happens from this angle.
And so to the friends. How are you all doing?
I'm reaching for my phone and thinking about texting the SI saying to put a hold on the Anton Famori. It might look a little odd, that thing coming out after whatever happens next.
Do you send this message?
No.
Okay. And Sybil and Pippa are just like huddled together, like slunk down in their seats, trying real hard to not be seen by anybody right now, just like, fuck.
Nope.
Could have gone a lot worse. Could have gone a lot better. Hard evidence versus not hard evidence versus the face of it all. It felt like we were on a seesaw the last 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like they should have swapped cross-references.
As you guys are talking, you do see Georgina come out from the back and head up to Proctor. And she whispers to Proctor and then proceeds to lead her down the stairs into the backstage area where the two of them stay. They don't come back out. And after about 20 minutes, Proctor comes out and goes back to her seat.
How does Proctor look?
Tired as usual. She hasn't really looked phased.
I am trying to think of worse scenarios. I'm struggling. But he's not dead yet. So there's that.
Do we take an action to get ahead of whatever sentence, or do we wait and find out where they take him? Because it's going to have to happen very quickly.
Let me ask you a question. And don't take offense to this. If they try to execute him right here, do you think we can actually do anything?
Would I try? Yes.
Do you think you will just die too?
Would it change anything? No.
Okay.
Is that stupid? Yes. Does it change my answer? No.
Alpha walks out from the back and takes a seat at his desk, looking exhausted. Says, "All right. Thank you, Gertie, and thank you, Anton, for your hard work. I've reached my verdict. There are 3 counts that I'm going to rule on tonight. Anton Krivopskov, if you'd please stand."
And I do. His hands in front of me.
On the count of willful and intentional treason to the Camarilla, you are found not guilty. On the count of reckless endangerment of the masquerade and the city of Atlanta, you are found guilty. And lastly, on the count of conspiracy to treason, you are found not guilty. This means that you will be put on probation and monitored to make sure your continued reckless actions do not further harm the masquerade or the city of Atlanta. You will be assigned a probation officer, and each week you will submit to the installation of a bloodstone within your body. This probation will remain in place until you have proven to have a better mindfulness in regards to the masquerade. If you attempt to remove the bloodstone, it will result in an immediate blood hunt open to all sects. And any helping you will also be blood hunted as well. Is that clear?
Entirely understood, my prince. Thank you.
Good. Then we are done with our General Assembly. Alima, if you could, please. And you see a group of gentlemen that you've all met before, except Jackson, the gentlemen that were with Alima when you went to the country club. Or Altamy is unfamiliar with these men as well.
Sometimes, yeah.
You see them come forward and create groups of flanking by the doorways to exit, and Alima steps forward, smiling to the crowd. All kindred who are not members of the court or shepherds, please report to my staff as you leave. Shepherds and court, you will be the last to leave. And you watch as people make their way slowly towards the exits, one by one, having a short word with Alima's staff, and then they promptly leave. Jackson, as you are not formerly a shepherd.
I don't get up.
Okay.
I see if I'm told to leave. I'm just like,
No one is correcting you as of yet.
Out of curiosity, do Sybil and Pippa get up, or do they wait with the group?
Sybil and Pippa
Pipple's the ship
do
name.
promptly leave as quick as they're able. With Alejandro coming right up behind Sybil as she heads out.
Just don't be suspicious.
suspicious.
I'm gonna tap Hawthorne, like, let me know what they're telling people as they leave. Like, message me later.
Will do.
Okay.
And Hawthorne quickly, like, beelines for the exit.
Without my bird? No, I'm mad. Because I just watched him go.
You didn't give him a time limit.
And,
I'm gonna make my way down towards everybody else at this point.
okay. And the court does come downstairs, but they are sticking in a group away from all of you, not approaching you. And after all the regular people are gone, Georgina approaches you, Anton. And she motions for you to follow her.
Stand up and look to my group and just... And I'll follow her.
And she leads you off kind of to a side area, a little more secluded from everyone else. She kind of shrugs and goes, I figured you'd want a little privacy for this part.
If this will do, then this will do. If you need more eyes on it, then either way. Do you have a preference of where?
I was gonna let you pick. It felt nicer that way. Just nothing dirty.
Please.
I was about to say, I'm a lesbian. I would fight you.
I feel like that might be the first time that I see Clarice take an aggressive emotional stance as well.
Yeah, she would probably kick your ass.
It'd be a feat. I'd be impressed.
Yeah, it'd be a shame to have all this just for Clarice to execute you.
That would be more justified. And I'm looking at my arms and considering the likelihood of something happening to them while there's a bloodstone in them. And I pull up my shirt and I point between a couple of the remaining, like, crisscross scars.
Okay.
I go, there.
Goes, all right. And you can see her hand shaking a little bit. She's a little nervous.
And I'm gonna hold my hand out. Do you need me to?
No, I got it.
Are you sure?
I have to do it.
Let me know if you need me to help.
No, I can do it. I'm a big girl.
Not
And-
everyone should have to. And I'll just stand back with my hand behind my back.
She holds the stone against your skin, and you feel a searing pain as your skin begins to stretch and tear under her hand, shuddering apart, and begins to wrap and knit itself over the stone, pulling it beneath the surface of your flesh. You will take 1 point of aggravated damage, and this will remain permanent until the end of your Bloodstone probation.
Anton just grits his teeth and, out of force of habit, is exhaling. And then when it's
And-
finally done, just,
When she finishes, Georgina reaches into her pocket and pulls out a crumpled wrapper of a Band-Aid and pulls out a little Pokemon Band-Aid and puts it over the top of the stone.
well,
She goes,
There.
that makes it all better, thank you.
I'll see you next week.
Are you my probation officer?
Yep.
I couldn't have picked a better one.
I'm kind of the only one.
I'm glad it's you.
I don't think you want Amon. He wouldn't be nice.
No, I feel I'm on maybe too busy as well.
All right. Well, there you go, Pikachu. Okay. Bye.
and she like scuttles off really quickly.
I just stand there touching the bandit and just go,
And you can feel the stone under your skin.
that's not usually supposed to do that. I just pull my shirt down and I exit out and back towards the stage.
And Alpha motions that all of you are now free to go. And as you all look to leave, you see that Alima's staff, now that everyone else is gone, has left the doors. You are all free to leave unimpeded.
I'll just nod to the Primogen and to Alpha,
And they nod back.
and I will rejoin my coterie. Shall we?
Gladly.
Please.
And I will walk out with them in tow, hopefully.
And you walk out into the night and make your way back to your haven. Some kind of justice having been performed tonight. And I think that's where we are going to leave off for this evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. We love having you along on this journey with us. Take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.